I want to welcome everybody. This is about how to grow your spiritual business, and I'm Dr. Kevin Ross Emery. One of the things that I set this up for was specifically for the meetup groups that I am the organizer for. So if you are on this chat, it means that you are in one of the groups that I am the organizer. There hasn't been a lot going on in the meetup groups that I have been the organizer of. I inherited some of them, and okay, let's see. I inherited some of them and started only one and inherited the rest. And so as I've tried to kind of create the reality of what people wanted out of meetup groups, I've tried sending out emails, I've done a number of different things. But the reason for tonight's meeting is that at the beginning of this year, I came together with New Hampshire Metaphysical, which some of you may be here through New Hampshire Metaphysical meetup group. But there are also other meetup groups as an organizer that I wanted to talk about what kind of lies ahead for the New Hampshire Metaphysical meetup group and for the meetup group, whether it is Gathering in Spirit or Portsmouth Spirituality or SHIP, the Seacoast Holistic Practitioners Group, is that we are blending all of those together in some way, shape, way, or form. And though you can stay in your individual group, we are going to be using the groups and we are going to be cross-promoting things throughout the groups. And I wanted to let people know that this is happening. And so I also wanted to talk to people who had a spiritual business. Henceforth, the name of tonight's talk or tonight's meetup is about how to grow your spiritual business through leveraging this kind of meeting of my Dr. Kevin and New Hampshire Metaphysical. I'm going to start by taking just a couple of minutes and talking a little bit about New Hampshire Metaphysical for those of you who are not familiar a bit with it, and then take a couple of minutes and talk to you about my Dr. Kevin for those of you who are not familiar with it, and then talk about how this is an avenue in which you can grow your spiritual business. New Hampshire Metaphysical was started 10 years ago by a woman named Julianne Gadziella. She started it as a brick and mortar in Londonderry, New Hampshire. At the time, she was offering some psychic fairs, classes. She started doing psychic message circles. We would, in the fairs, there would be vendors, and it was a small location. But Julianne, over 9 years, built that outreach of New Hampshire Metaphysical through those events, through sometimes showing up with her people at other events. Initially, she had a lot of students that she was working with, and she also wanted to give them a venue for them to practice developing their psychic ability, whether it was through straight psychic readings or through tarot. She expanded over those 9 years until she had a number of different teachers and was having a number of successful psychic fairs, psychic message circles, and things like this. That was up, well, 8 years, because that was up to the pandemic. In the pandemic, she moved everything online, closed the brick and mortar, as many people did, but continued to offer out to the spiritual community the opportunity to get access to spiritual teachers, spiritual holistic practitioners, psychics, and that she took that what she had been building mostly through her mailing list and through her meetup group to promote the events for others, and really create a community feel of spiritual seekers and teachers and practitioners coming together in a safe space to learn and grow and support each other. At the end of, in the last quarter of last year, Julianne approached me about buying New Hampshire Metaphysical, as she felt like she was called to do something else and to move on. Welcome, this is Morgana. Say hello to everybody, Morgana. If you're going to interrupt my talk, you have to say hello to people. And so when my team and I thought about that, we knew, because I'd been involved with New Hampshire Metaphysical as a teacher, as a practitioner, as a psychic for the last few years, that this was a good match to what I, in Web of Light / what I call Web of Light, my Dr. Kevin. And so I'm going to now move a little bit into that. So I started my full-time spiritual practice as a spiritual coach, counselor, and catalyst. I'm in my 32nd year now. This is what I have done full-time for 32 years. Over that time, I have had a number of books come out, DVDs, CDs. I have spoken all over the world on spiritual topics. I had a couple of different TV shows, one for 3 years called Web of Light, one for 2 years. Also had a Web of Light Expo that was a 2-day. The first one was a 2.5 day, second one was a 2-day, third one was a 2-day expo, and then the pandemic hit and we stopped doing the Web of Light Expo. We did do a Web of Light Expo speaker series, but I've been around the biz for a long time, traveling throughout the country and internationally, really bringing a message of weaving a web of light. Web of Light was actually the name of my first website, which came out 92, 93, as websites were just actually kind of, a lot of people didn't even know what a website was back then, but Web of Light had one. And so as a spiritual teacher, a coach, a counselor, a catalyst, working with people individually and in groups, I have, again, for the last 32 years, built that business, built that practice, and kind of combined. I like to let people know that my first sets of degrees were actually in business. But even before I got those, I had started doing professional psychic work in the 70s with a group called the New England Traveling Psychics. So over this time, I have always done the same balance that Julianne did, which is why she approached me, which is the business of spirituality and the spirituality of business. Looking at that balance of the spirituality of business and the business of spirituality, oftentimes people that come in to do alternative holistic practitioner work, psychic work, teaching in the more non-traditional subjects, everything from tarot, astrology, psychic development, healing, Reiki. The list is infinite at this point of the number of different things out there that would fall under that category. Oftentimes, it seems as though people struggle building or maintaining a business, the business side of it, in a way that allows them to really get paid for their passion. When people say to me, what do? I have often said that, what do I do for work? I go, I don't do work, I do joy. I get up every morning, I get paid to be me, and it doesn't get any better than that. And so I wanted to offer out that as myself and my team, Elmer, who could not be here tonight, and Mindy, who is pretending to be Elmer, wave Mindy, Elmer. We wanted to talk about the fact that I'm going to be opening up those venues for people who have a spiritual business and practice and would like to grow it, to do so by coming into the New Hampshire Metaphysical brand, so to speak. It doesn't mean that you're leaving your business. It means that you're using us to help you build your business. Over the years, one of the things that's always been sad for me is to watch truly talented spiritual people who are very gifted, have a really good heart and soul, want to go out there and help as many people as they can, and don't know how to get their message out into the world. You know, it's like I have heard countless times over the years and have done work as a consultant for businesses, for spiritual businesses, as well as regular businesses, but for spiritual businesses, practitioners, and they go, if everybody just knew what I did, I would be so busy. But they don't know what you do. And sometimes it's because you don't know how to get it out there. Sometimes it's because you're not even sure how to language it. Whether it's a spiritual business or a traditional business, if you can't communicate what is your unique proposition, why people would want to work with you, attend your class, to have you as a teacher, to get a reading from you, whatever it is that you are offering, if they don't understand that which you offer, if they don't understand how it can help them or why they would want to do it, then it's kind of a crap shot whether they're going to do it or not. You might get an impulse at a fair, or if you are associated with a shop in the days of walking in. And I have sat at any number of shops in my 32 years, from Leaping Lizards and Circle of Wisdom to the Mustard Seed to places that aren't even around anymore, like Maya's Dream out in Natick. And oh, there was one in Nashua before I ever lived there. I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, in the early 90s, Angel something. But anyways, I've seen a lot of them come and go. And I've seen a lot of practitioners come and go. And it wasn't because they didn't have the talent. It wasn't because they didn't have the gift. It wasn't even because they didn't have the call. It's they didn't know how to share it. They didn't know how to get it out there, and they didn't know how to get themselves in front of the right people. So that being said, us building this and bringing this together, excuse me, I have a mischievous cat that's down here causing havoc, I'm being told. So as we have brought these two together, part of what we are offering here is to let people access not only the mailing list, the following, the meetup that New Hampshire Metaphysical has always done to help people build their practice, get people coming to their classes, find students, find places to grow themselves in their spiritual business. But we're adding that 32 years that I have of also building a following through TV shows. I still have a radio show. It's in its 16th, 17th year. I've lost track. I have a bi-monthly podcast, and am putting out things between myself and my team regularly to get people aware of what it is, what kind of empowerment and now people associated with the New Hampshire Metaphysical are offering. So there's 2 or 3 different things here. One is that if you are interested to know, how can I take advantage of this built-in database of people who are showing up, going to classes, going to psychic fairs, getting involved. They're seekers. They want to know, some from brand new, just trying to learn about spirituality, to some very advanced people looking for master classes, looking for the teacher that's going to take them to their next level. Then you can simply do that. And I'm going to have, I think the easiest way, I don't know if it's question and answer or chat, Mindy, but I'll have you put the email address in. But you can send a request to get information at info@newhampshiremetaphysical.com. One of the things we offer is a practitioner directory that is part of the website. For people who become a practitioner and are what we call a featured or premier practitioner, we work hard. We will work with them to really improve their image, improve how their presentation is. I'm going to be having many of these people on my radio show, my weekly radio show, to talk about who they are, to give them a chance to share themselves. Some people might be a better fit for the podcast. It's two different audiences. Depends on who you are and what you do. We also are going to be doing something regularly called Spiritual Sunday Stew, where we're going to have a spiritual teacher and myself discussing some spiritual topic. It can even be one that's been requested by people that are attending that say, hey, sometime I'd like you to talk about this, whatever this is. People that have a unique take on things are going to be invited, and we are going to be issuing those invitations through the New Hampshire Metaphysical community. As part of the community, we're going to continue to build you and build the community simultaneously. And then if anybody wants private one-on-one work about how to build themselves, then they can also always reach out to me. I've helped a lot of people get to the place where they are making the living that they want to make, that they should be making, as the spiritual practitioner, so that they're not saying, hey, I need to do this around my part-time job, around my full-time job, or, you know, I don't feel good because, you know, my spouse is carrying all the financial weight, whatever it is. So, I mean, there's always the opportunity to work with me, which again would be like on an appointment basis. You would be bringing me in to work with you. But the people in New Hampshire Metaphysical, we are going to be offering some classes. We're going to do some things where we're going to invite members of the community that are spiritual practitioners, that are putting themselves out there, that if they would like to attend, you know, once a quarter, whatever, depending on what people would like, that we have a conversation. We talk about different things we've discovered, how to build your business, how to get your message out there, how to move forward. I think it's so important to remember that the real power of the spiritual community is when it functions as a community. And that's part of what we're offering you to, is to become part of a community where we're going to be taking your joining our community and leveraging those resources to promote you, promote the community, and help get your message out. We are going to be offering psychic fairs, which we call them psychic fairs, but I do have people that sign up and offer other services, and do get people that do sound healings with them, or hypnosis with them, or some other kind of healing, or Reiki. Those are obviously offered to the people that are part of our community first. Our psychic message circles, if psychic is one of the ways in which you like to build your practice, like to market yourself, and like to make money, because all of these are ways for you to create multiple streams of income. We are going to be through before the end of 2022. We are negotiating right now and are going to be not only rebranding, but we're going to be turning New Hampshire Metaphysical itself into an app. So if you're part of the New Hampshire Metaphysical Directory, then you can, you would be available through an app. And we know so many people do things through apps and phones these days, and iPads and ThinkPads and all sorts of other names. I just call them all iPads. But in that, we are also, before year end, we're going to be adding a metaphysical store and an opportunity for practitioners to offer services through our store, through our app, where people will be able to come in and we will be taking care of the marketing, the promoting. Now, also, number one thing, you need to promote yourself. Anything you're doing anywhere. One of the things that I found very early on, because again, I started my full-time practice in 1990. And when I would first work at stores or healing centers, no matter whatever they said they were going to do, I took responsibility for my own marketing. I reached out to my groups. I found places that I could post. Back then, it was running around with flyers and thumbtacks and going to every health food store and everything, anything. If you had a yoga studio and they had a board, you put your flyers, you put your cards, you just ran around and you marketed everything, every place that you could. And you took every opportunity you could to speak. I almost never attended an expo where I wasn't a speaker. If I couldn't get a speaking gig, I oftentimes, I mean, early on, I would just do any expo I could just for the exposure of the expo. And to get myself out there, to get people to know me and to talk about me. You want people to talk about you. You want people to talk about how their lives have been changed by what you have offered them. I believe that if you're in this room at this time, wanting to grow a spiritual business, that's because you know you have gifts that the world needs right now. The world needs your gifts, but they also need to find them. You know, it's the old story of it's not impossible to happen, but usually neither Prince Charming or Princess Charming or your perfect client or the agent who's going to get you a best-selling book, they somehow just don't wander down your street and think, I think I should knock on that door and find out who lives there. Not saying it's impossible, just not likely. So I am going to open it up to see if there are questions that either Mindy or I can answer. Right now, you know, this was just to kind of let people know that this is an opportunity that they can take advantage of if they're serious about growing their spiritual business and are looking for more megaphones. But before we do that, Mindy, who is my office goddess and checklist queen, will tell me what I forgot to mention. Mindy, did I forget to mention anything important?
Not that I can think of, but after questions, I will probably kind of bullet point some of the highlights for everybody and summarize if I could do that. But if anybody has questions, raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask away.
Hey, Dr. Kevin, how are you?
I'm fabulous, but I'm working on getting better. Just stay with me.
Every day you get every day. So maybe you can explain in a little bit more detail how practitioners would work with New Hampshire Metaphysical. I mean, obviously I know Julianne and I know what she had before, but so what are you thinking about in terms of building that and how do we work with you?
So there's 2 or 3 different ways. So Julianne herself for the last few years always offered, and I will continue to offer people that want to do private one-on-one sessions with me. Those obviously are paid sessions because it's part of the way I make my living. But also we have the, you know, we're going to keep the practitioner directory that's on the website as is. We're going to continue to offer the psychic fairs every other month, the psychic message circles every month, and the spiritual stew Sundays twice a month. These are all things that we're going to be increasing the traffic, which increases the awareness. Part of this is really about marketing. I mean, if people need one-on-one individual help, then yes, I'm available to do that if you want to schedule an appointment with me as one of the services I offer. But you don't have to do that. Just by becoming part of the directory, deciding what it is that you want to promote or grow, whether do I want to do it through psychic fairs? Do I want to do psychic messages? Do I want to do it through spiritual stew? Is it that I don't have something that maybe falls in a psychic message or a psychic fair, but I'm trying to promote a class I'm teaching, or I'm trying to promote something that I'm offering as a holistic practitioner. It might even be promoting a book or an online course that you've created. And those are some of the conversations that if you bring me in to consult with you, then we would talk about what is it that you're offering? What is your unique proposition? How do you want to set that up? How do you want to market it? What are the steps in doing that? How do I create an online course? Or how do I get a book out there? Or how do I do these things? Those are things that would be done in one-on-one sessions. But as far as becoming part of New Hampshire Metaphysical, it would be saying, what is it that I want to offer through New Hampshire Metaphysical? Do I want to offer it? Is it something that would be available in a walk-in format? Because once the app goes live and we have the store, that's another whole set of things we're going to be promoting through mailing lists, through social media. You know, as good a job as Julianne did in the 9 years that she had New Hampshire Metaphysical, and she did a great job. My personal outreach through social media and mailing is 3 times larger than hers was. So everybody involved with New Hampshire Metaphysical is now getting promoted through the My Dr. Kevin brand as well. Is it something that you should come on my radio show and talk about to, again, help make people aware of you? But right now, the simplest way is, hey, I want to be part of the Practitioner Directory, whether I'm offering holistic healing or even that I want to promote myself as a spiritual teacher. What is your proposition and how are you looking? How do you make your money? What are your streams of income? And those are the kind of questions that oftentimes we aren't asking ourselves enough, of all the different ways, all the different streams of income. What are all the gifts that we offer? And then how do we set that up? So hopefully I have over answered that question. And I think we had another question I'm going to jump to. Are we good for the moment, Wendy? Okay. I think the goddess, was it Nike? Goddess
Nikkei, good evening. So my question is, so it looks like there are 2 different components of the system that you're explaining. One is one-on-one consultation with you, and the second one is to join the Practitioners Directory. Is that correct?
Yes. And I want to make it really clear. I did not want this to be a big push of come work with me. I mean, that is a secondary for people who say, I really think I would benefit from a one-on-one, somebody who's been in the business and been successful. I'm open to do that, but I really want to make this more about, if you come in and join the Practitioner Directory, then you get access to doing the psychic message circles, the fairs, and as the app unfolds in the stores, we are going to have people that will be available through the app to get booked for services. So you would have your services booked through the app, through the New Hampshire Metaphysical app, because it's not going to just be New Hampshire Metaphysical, the holistic healing center that it was. It's also going to be a store as well. So we are widening the net that we're casting to bring people in. But yeah, really the big thing I wanted to make people aware of was the Practitioner Directory as a way to help get you increase your exposure.
Okay, so my next follow-up question is this basically beneficial for people who are in the New Hampshire area, or what about people who are in other parts of the country?
This is benefit.
Because I heard you say something about a walk-in and psychic fairs.
So the psychic fairs that are getting done through New Hampshire Metaphysical are all done via phone or Zoom. We get people that book readings from all over the country. And as I'm going to be expanding this and maybe even be bringing in some more international people because of my own personal connections of working in the international community, that anybody across the world that wants to book a psychic reading during a New Hampshire Psychic Fair could book it and do it either on the phone or on Zoom or any other service. We do have people that offer other services that aren't just psychic services. They just have to be clear about what they're offering. But what we promote is the fair. As far as the quote unquote walk-in, the walk-in is the app. We drive people to the app, we drive people to the store. When they come in, we'll be setting up, and this is not in place yet. So this is something, because we just purchased at January 1st was the official date that we took over New Hampshire Metaphysical. And we're at the 11th or 12th. So, some of this is in process. The directory has been around for years. And we've already upped the people we've already upped to social media. We've upped the people that are coming to check it out. In that short period of time, our numbers are already going up because we're adding so many additional funnels. But once the app gets up and we have attached the Metaphysical store to it, we'll be promoting that, and people will come to it, and they can come to it on their phone, or they could actually come to it on their computer, because it will be a website and an app. And they come to New Hampshire Metaphysical, and there will be a button that says available for services today. Those services would still be through phone or Zoom as the person wanted, but there is no requirement that you have to be physically anywhere. We have discussed in 2022, I may try to do a physical event if people are really interested in it, because I know some people would like to gather in person, but we're not even sure that we're going to try to do that in 2022 with everything going on. But all of the events will have an online component. Other questions? Did that make sense, Goddess?
Perfectly. So it's virtual or either over the phone. Yes, I got that. When you said walk-in, that threw me off. I was thinking this is a in-person walk-in, and I'm like, but I don't live in New Hampshire. So I was just wondering if I would still be able to take advantage of it.
Oh no, we're spreading our love all over the world. And in fact, we're okay if they want to dial in from the moon, as long as they get a good service connection.
Yes.
We love everybody. There are Venetians that need a little help. Somebody comes in from Saturn. It's okay, as long as they pay the phone charges. I don't know what a call to Saturn costs these days.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, you guys are making it way too easy on me. I'm going to mute and turn it over to Mindy, who's going to highlight points. You can still at any point raise your hand and ask questions. And then Mindy will give you the contact information afterwards. Again, as you know, because you had to acknowledge that you knew it, we are recording this so we can share it with some people who wanted to attend tonight but couldn't. So Mindy, I'm going to actually mute myself.
I love you, Kevin.
What I put up with.
Yeah, poor you. So to just kind of highlight, I am one of the behind the scenes people. If you get an email, 99.9% chance it's coming from me. If you see something up on a website, if you want to work with us, it's probably me doing the legwork. So it's nice to meet you all, and I hope to get to work with you guys in the near future. So there are different levels of involvement if you want to partner with New Hampshire Metaphysical. One of my favorites is the Practitioner Directory, because that gets you exposure 24/7, right? People come to our website all the time from all different kinds of places, and they look and they scroll and they read, and our Practitioner Directory is always there. The other thing is we have featured and regular listings. Featured listings have a secondary page. So if you've been working for a while, you have some good testimonies, if you have more pictures of the work that you do, a longer bio, you can sign up for that. The regular listing is still nice, can include some description of your practice, your bio, and we'll still have a link to you. What we are doing is providing like the yellow pages of practitioners so that people can come to us because they've been coming there for a while to find you. And our job is to push them back to you, to your sites to do bookings, whether they find it just on our regular site, or if you have joined the fair or one of our weekend fairs, your listing, if you're in the practitioner directories up there, but we also have information for you if you've joined a fair, which you're not required to join the directory to be part of a fair. Might be a good way to test out, the waters if you want, but we will have a link to your booking, your website for you. You pay a flat fee to join the fair, like a table fee. If you've ever been to an expo, you pay a table fee. If one person comes and stops by your table, one person comes. If 400 people come, 400 people come. Our job is to get the exposure. You set your rates. You collect the money. You don't pay us a percentage. You get to keep 100% of whatever you make, minus what you paid for the table fee, right, to join. We also have a calendar of events up. Our featured and annual regular practitioners who pay for their listing annually get to list one free class or event on our calendar. Our calendar also appears in our newsletter with links, or there's links to our calendar from our newsletter. Doing either one of those fairs, a calendar listing, or being part of the directory, like I said, all go out to the newsletter. We have a main monthly newsletter and a featured event newsletter that goes out in the middle of the month. And the fair website is bestpsychiccfairs.com. And so it's a separate website, which is under construction right now. So my apologies, you won't see a whole lot of information there as we are gathering practitioners and building out that page. And so people can go there. We have the meetup groups. We're ramping up social media in all the forms that we can, or that I can handle right now, and increasing exposure. And we will be featuring practitioners from our practitioner list on our social media throughout the year. So there's just a lot of different opportunities and ways for you to engage. If you are here on this call, if you've registered and you're getting the replay, I will have your email address and I can send you information if you would like. If you know that you want something specific, if you want the price list for the different options that we have, if you just drop your email in the chat or just raise your hand, I can make a list and get that stuff out to you tomorrow with the recording. Anybody have a question for me? Great. Awesome. You're muted, Kevin.
There we go. I'm trying to unmute. Ava was asking a question. Are there any cost or fees to join? Yes. Obviously, being part of the directory, we take the money that we collect, and that's how we pay for Mindy to do all the social media. That's how we pay for the new branding. That's how we pay for the app. Obviously, we are we are bringing the monies that come in go back out. I'm not saying 100%, but I'm saying that the directory gets its legs because we charge for it. And so do classes and other things. So yes. And you can get a full list of those at newhampshiremetaphysical.com. And you can look over the website and you can kind of see what we're doing and what we're offering. Do we have any other questions? Okay. So the other thing is that I do want to mention that if you do decide to get involved in New Hampshire Metaphysical, if you sign up to become a guest on Spiritual Stew, that you actually, there's no cost to do Spiritual Stew. Actually, you make money on Spiritual Stew because there's a small fee for the people that attend. And so you get part of that. So that's a place that you make money. Obviously, if you are part of the Psychic Message Circle, if you get chosen to be one of the readers for that, you make money. And obviously you can make money through the psychic fairs, as well as if you're promoting classes and things like that. I'm assuming you're going to be making money because the more abundance we live in, the more we recognize that we deserve to be abundant, to be prosperous, and to be compensated for our gifts and our talents and what we bring to the world, the more we can do so. And I have been living that message, teaching that message, and helping students with that message for over 30 years. The more that you accept your worth and value, the more that you promote your worth and value, the more that you recognizes it, the universe recognizes it, and you are allowed to expand and do more in the universe with it. And I think oftentimes as spiritual practitioners, that part of us that just wants to run out and heal the world, and part of us wants to help everybody, and we want to make it right. And, you know, we have such mixed energies over money and prosperity in this society of ours. The bottom line is, it does make that physical material world that we all have to live in go round. And also, there is so much truth that one of the ways people show respect for what they get and what you do is by their willingness to compensate you for it. And oftentimes I watch people who will, you know, just give it away, give it away, give it away, and they're not really treated well. And they're dismissed, and they're certainly not being respected. So I invite people that are at a place where they are wanting to expand out into the world to come and join the New Hampshire Metaphysical community. Mindy, any closing thoughts? If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap this down.
I would just say that you'll be getting a recording in your email of this. You are more than welcome to share it with anyone. If you have buddies that are practitioners and they may be interested, sharing is caring. So you could pass along the video if you wish. And I look forward to working with all of you, I hope, on some level. And I hope you have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we're going to go ahead and, oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just reading the chats now. Thank you, everybody. And we're going to go ahead and end.